Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank the TEDx for giving me this opportunity to share my story and also to share the work we do at Cure Violence to interrupt the violence and change mindset day to day, every day. I arrived here on Wednesday, and I got some disturbing phone call Thursday morning that I lost my cousin to gun violence. So I'd like to dedicate this speech today to my cousin. And I also would like to challenge everybody in here today to spread the message that people can change their mindset. For the last year, I've been working on a book, and I've been trying to think of a title. See, where I come from, most people think of a book titled like From the Streets to the Suite. Or perhaps some people say The Streets to the Boardroom. Or say The Streets to the Stage. But Cobe, I would write my book about the Cobe story. And it'd be from the streets to the streets. So I know you all might be here thinking, Cobe, they don't seem like you made it that far. Right here. So I'm here to prove you wrong. Mindset is everything. Mindset determines your attitude, your behavior, your actions. As an interrupter, our job is like a firefighter. When the things are blowing up in the community, the buildings are on fire, our job is as an interrupter is to run into the crowd to mediate conflicts when there's a lot of shooting and killing going on in the community. And that's what we do day to day. We focus on helping people change their mindset. Let me give you all an example. I remember a few years ago, we were sitting in the Inglewood office. And the Inglewood office is where we work at every day. We have weekly staff meetings. And we talking about the things we are talking about, the shooting and killing, what's going on, how we don't stop the violence, how we don't go about this, what we don't do, what techniques we don't do. Because what we are do, we are highly trained in conflict resolution, community engagement, identify and detect. We train to do what we do. We have techniques and tools we use to stop the violence. So I received a call, because while we having our meetings, we all make sure our phone is on vibrate, because we don't want to be interrupted, because we strategize and think about what's our next step. Interrupters are on call 24/7. So I got a call from one of the little homies. He was calling, and he called and kept saying, Cobe. I couldn't hardly hear him because he was like hollering, crying through the phone. He kept saying, Cobe, D-Boy got killed. So I'm like, what? He said, D-Boy got killed. So me and my team rushed over there, because I asked him, I said, where you at? He said, we on the block. I rushed over there, me and my team. So the first thing I did, I jumped out the car, embraced him right away, hugged him and grabbed him to the side and took him for a walk. My team started talking to all the family members out there, all his friends out there, people out there in the community with guns, they're in gangways, they're standing out. D-Boy landed right there in the car, his head blowed off, just shot, just dead. There's so much emotion and tension going on right then. He kept explaining to me like, Cobe, man, they killed one of ours, we don't kill 2 or 3 of theirs. His friends, everybody just all over the place. But I kept walking with him, talking with him, because if I could get through to him, I could get through to everybody. because he is their shot caller. He is their leader. This the guy we like talking to. He the one influenced the neighborhood. He could turn it off or turn it on at any time. So I know I got to reach him, and I know my coworkers got to reach his friends and reach his family members. Because if we don't reach them right then, it's going to be more violence, more shooting, more killing. So as I was talking to him over and over, I said, just give me 24 hours. Give us 24 hours to try to work things out so we could try to make sense of this madness. He said, Kobe, I ain't got no 24 hours. One of ours got killed, we got to kill one of theirs. So I say, better yet, give me 12 hours then. Give me 12 hours. He kept saying, come on, Kobe. I say, give me the 12 hours. Because I know if I get 12 hours, I could turn that 12 into 24 or 36 and 48 hours. So what I was able to do was remove him from that situation. Put him in the car with me and take him for a ride. And when you take him to a ride, we talking about babysitting him, monitoring him. When I removed him, my teammates out there still talking to the families and the friends and seeing what's going on out there. So I was able to more listen to him than anything. A lot of times when these tragic violence happen, you don't know what to do sometimes because every situation might be different. And sometimes it depends how much damage has been done. If somebody has just upped the gun on you, that's one thing. But if somebody got killed, that's something different. So that's a big gap between how much damage has been done. But I know if I don't reach him and we don't reach his friends right then, it's going to be more violence. And that's what we do every day. Get out there so it won't be more violence. But most important, what we do is listen. And why it's so easy for me to listen, because I was a part of that problem, now I'm part of the solution. I was out there in that lifestyle before. Most of the people I work with every day was out there in that lifestyle. So I was just talking to him back and forth, removed him off the situation. My coworkers, we jumping on the phone, just communicate with each other. From that one incident right there, it didn't lead to no shooting and killing. And I do know this. If we wasn't there, it would have been a lot of shooting and killing. Because we saw it happen over and over too many times. And what we do with these guys, we help them provide opportunities to save face. Because when these situations going on, a lot of times people might want to leave it alone, and some people might not want to leave it alone. But people feel like if they leave some things alone, it's going to make them feel soft. It's going to make them feel like they're a punk. It's going to make them feel like they're a target now. That means people could do this anytime to them. So what we are able to do, like I say, squash things right there. It wasn't no more violence right then off that same incident. And one thing we do, we don't just mediate conflicts right then. We do follow-ups. Because you know today somebody could give you their word today, right? Right? Yeah. And then go back on their word, right? So we want to make sure we monitor these situations to go back and see if the situation is still where we left it at. It's so important to follow up when you do any type of intervene or mediation. When I see these young brothers and sisters out here, the youth out here, it made me think about my father. My father was my role model. That man right there was my role model right there. He was a gang chief and he was selling drugs. As a kid, that's who I wanted to be like my father. Nobody couldn't tell me nothing different. That's who I wanted to be like. When I was 3 years old, my father went to prison for a murder. When I was 11, my father got out of prison. And he also got killed once he got out of prison. So when I look at the youth the people we work with every day, a lot of them ain't got no father figure in their life. They ain't got no big brother in their life. And a lot of times, people be quick to judge people, but you never know what somebody going through. You just never know what somebody going through when they ain't got no father, big brother, uncle, cousin, or mother, or anybody in their life. People be quick to judge them. I hate my father wasn't there for me, and I think about that all the time. But I remember when I was locked up, fighting a case, I was locked up in custody. My son mother, my mother, my son grandmother, and sister, they came to court for me. And I came out the bullpen shackled up. My son walked up, he had to be 3 years old. I didn't see him since he was born because I was locked up when he was born. I was shackled up, they had me, take me just like that. My son ran up into me and say, Dad, I love you, I love you, I love you, Dad, I love you. So I right there looked at my son coming towards me. The judge looked at both of us and identified he knew that I hadn't seen my son in so many years or something. He told the bailiff, please take the handcuffs off of him and let me hug my son. So I hugged my son, embraced my son, and hugged him real tight, telling him, I love you, I love you, I love you. So I knew it's time for me to go back to lockup. As I'm going back to lockup, I told my son, your mama and them calling, your grandmama calling you. He went over there and sat with his grandmama now. But I knew I'm finna go back to lockup, so as he sat down, he just broke down from the whole courtroom. I want my daddy, I want my daddy, I want my daddy. So as I was going back, I got so emotional and tears coming down my eyes. I'm like, man, I want my son. That's how I was feeling. So I was feeling like that. I'm like, man, please, I hope when I go back to lockup, nobody don't say nothing crazy to me. Because it's like when you're in jail, you go into jail with tears, and people might try to try you in any type of way. People might try to make jokes, somebody, he crying, he weak and all that. So I was hoping that nobody would say nothing to me. That moment right then, that's what made me start changing my mindset, my thinking, my quality of life. Because a lot of times when we make bad choices in this world or in the community, we not just hurting ourselves, we hurting our loved ones. My father wasn't there for me, but I wanted to be there for my son. So that's what made me start thinking about changing my mindset and my thinking. And we just talk about changing mindset and we talk about changing thinking. We give these brothers and sisters out there opportunities, like I said before, to save face. We want people to understand just because you get into a disagreement, you ain't got to lead to violence. You ain't got to always react on certain things. You can walk away. And that's what we provide, that opportunity for people to save face, to walk away. Most of the time, people are like, only reason we ain't going to do this because you asked me not to do this, or she asked me not to do this. People respect what we do because we don't come off judging nobody. We meet everybody where they are. We understand people make mistakes. We don't look at people as good or bad people. Because you make bad choices do not make you a bad person. Sometimes you just make bad choices. Us as adults make bad choices, right? And sometimes it's hard to get back when you make choices. But it's all about you can learn from these choices. I look at myself now. I made a lot of bad choices in my life. But I was able to shift that, to shift my thinking, to shift my mindset. And the same thing applies to me, it applies in the community. When people see you make shift in your mindset and make change in your mindset, other people could do that. Most of the times, people be thinking about how they friends or how somebody see them. That be what people be thinking about. Shifting is so important, though. And providing opportunity for these brothers and sisters out there to save face. Because we look at violence as a disease. It spread from one person to another. If we can't stop it right then, it will spread. That's why we make sure we be there to stop it right then so it won't spread. And we focus on stopping shooting and killing on the front end. Once it happened, we focus on stopping retaliation. I'm going to leave y'all with this one more story. I got another son, and I used to go up to school for him a lot. I mean a lot. Y'all can relate to that, right, when you got kids. Every time I'm finna go up to school, there's something wrong. So I remember when I walked in the house, and as I walked in the house, the phone was ringing, and I look at the call ID, it said school. So the first thing I'm saying is, what did he do now? So once I picked up the phone, the principal, I ain't get a chance to say nothing. I just say, what did he do? The principal said, it ain't what he did, it's what he did. So my heart got to racing right then. I said, what you mean what he did? It's finna be a big fight at the school. A big group of guys. There's a group of guys on this side and that side. Your son got right in the mix of it and pulled both sides, pulled the parties over here and pulled over there and mediated it right then and stopped it right then. So I want to know, how is that for a learned behavior? Thank you very much.